At the end, it's about making soccer accessible to the city as much as possible, to reach as many children as possible, to give the opportunity to play that beautiful sport, learn with it for life, and as well become as good as everyone can be.
Welcome to a new edition of the City Voice podcast. I am joined by a very special guest, as I always am on this show. On a very special day, I want to welcome Sascha Bauer, our brand new Director of Regional Training and Education. Welcome to the show, Sascha.
Thank you, Pete. I'm very thrilled and excited to be here and be part of that historical moment of building this new club for St. Louis.
So we're all excited to have you at the club. You've had the chance to meet a lot of the team. Everybody is incredibly impressed by you. I wrote on Twitter earlier that you've got a pure heart of gold, and your intentions for the club and the city are spectacular and ambitious. And before we get into it, I do want to just make a note. I'm going to pull out a prop. I'm pulling out my phone because we just announced on the feed your hire and the program that you're bringing to the city. And I just wanted to read some of the feedback. Andrew Guy, soccer in the Lou just gets stronger. St. Louis City continuing to make all the right moves. Red O'Reilly, fantastic hire, an incredible program. Great steps to making the game accessible and affordable, but also teach the game the right way. We've got Fan Van. They are asking you all to read the article, which is on the app, if you want to tune into that right now. This is so essential for me. A proper club gets involved in its city like this. Free footy for all ages across the St. Louis area. Invest in the city now, and it will do wonders for both the club and the city. The Show Up Make Noise podcast said that they got the chance to meet you at an FX council meeting. In the first couple of minutes of speaking to him, we could already see the passion and joy he brings to soccer education. We're looking forward to seeing what he can bring to St. Louis. And I've even got stuff on paper. I'm printing tweets for the analog folk out there. Taylor Twellman. I think people know about Taylor Twellman. This is how St. Louis City will help their programs and the city be more diverse. And then a couple more just to finish it out. The SCL Punks, this is what community looks like. And my favorite supporters group at the moment, because the name is just so awesome, the No Nap City Ultras. This is what soccer is about, nurturing our youth, our legacy, our future. I mean, hire those as a copywriter at the team. So, in short, a lot of excitement in the community about your program. So why don't we just jump right in? What is your job and what is your role? What are you bringing to the city?
I think my job has various different layers, I would say. At the end, it's about making soccer accessible to the city as much as possible, to reach as many children as possible, to give the opportunity to play that beautiful sport, learn with it for life, and as well become as good as everyone can be. Like, we want children to dream. We want them to dream of becoming a pro footballer. But in realistic terms, 99% will not be able to play professionally. And we want to take that responsibility serious to help them at least to learn with the sports, to be prepared and create a great future for themselves. So that is one big objective, make it accessible and help people to grow with the sports.
And you're not just coaching kids here. Like your program has more depth to it. Tell us a little bit about the triangle of people that you're targeting with this program.
Well, we do want to coach the coaches. Like, we are offering a coaching program that is designed to reach as many coaches as possible around the city. So every coach that is interested in receiving a coaching education that is different from the U.S. Soccer Federation. So if you're reach out and want to be involved and want to learn something that is not part of the U.S. Soccer Federation's content, then we can offer that. So we are designing a continuous learning opportunity, that's how we call it, that is available together with MISA for coaches to join for free, to continuously learn and gain some knowledge about how to really intentionally promote emotional and social learning within the soccer sessions and environment.
And this course is already active. You already have participants that you're looking after.
We've been starting offering some small kickoff sessions with one of our new partners, the YMCA. That was our first partner we signed an agreement with. And we are opening it up now more for more coaches. So it started, and we'll regularly offer a kickoff session. The next stage will be we're offering an introductory online course, and then a third stage of continuous learning opportunity where coaches can join on a regular basis on a session that is every 3 weeks. Like, we will offer some games that will be focused on one of the skills that we want to promote. It could be empathy. It could be a dribbling skill, a technical skill. It could be a tactical principle that we focus on. So very detailed sessions every 3 weeks. And that is one, let's say, pillar. The other pillar would be to work directly with the children. So the coaches, they go through our educational approach. They will work directly with the children in our satellite program. And that's what we've announced today. And that's what we want to spread over the city. So we're starting now in the south of the city, then we're going central. The next third location will be north, then we're going east and going west. Very objective and with a regional focus, but spreading out geographically, that every child, no matter where they come from, have access to the game.
And the parents, what do they also factor in this?
Oh yeah, the parents, sure, they are a big factor, because you've been talking about the triangle. The triangle is, let's say like that, if we coach the coaches and the children are coming to their sessions, often coaches do not have enough time to spend and working with the parents, that it's aligned and that parents really know what is happening on the field and how they can further support their children to grow. So if that triangle becomes strong, and we really want to help parents to give the best soccer education to their children, and only if that triangle is strong and we are having an influence on the parents as well, then we can give the maximum or the best education in soccer the children can have.
So before we get into the granular detail of how this program operates, I want to talk a little bit about Sasha the man. And you're a very cultured man. You've lived all over the world. Tell us a little bit about growing up and some of the influences that you had in your life.
Okay, everything started. I grew up in a small village in Germany, close to Frankfurt, 15 kilometers out of Frankfurt. And I started playing as a child on the street. So I would join the club soccer only a very late age. Often children start 7, 8. I started only 13 in a club. So I started playing street soccer with friends I had a big family from Albania. They were my best friends I grew up with. I played street soccer with a guy from Syria. I had a Moroccan friend. So I already grew up in a very diverse friendly neighborhood. And then I started becoming a coach with 18. At a very young age, I would say, but I think it was perfect for me, because I already realized, okay, pro soccer might not be possible in my age anymore. I had a really bad injury as well. And then I grew up in the coaching system in Germany, starting to go to the next bigger club and the next bigger club. And with 25, I ended up with the biggest club in my region, Eintracht Frankfurt, the pro club in the town, and I coached the 7 to 10 year old boys. In that time, for 3.5 years, I was responsible for scouting in the region, and then I got the offer to work as a coaching instructor in South Africa. And I always thought, like, growing up in Germany is a very privileged thing. It's a very, like, yeah, you're grown up in this environment where you're safe. So I was always feeling safe. There were no crime issues or anything like that. And I always felt like Africa would be a place where you can start give something back to our planet. And when I had the offer to go to South Africa, work as an instructor, because I just finished my A license, and with the A license, you're officially allowed to instruct other coaches on the C license level. And yeah, then I said, okay, this is now the time to go and give something back to the planet. Uh, yeah, with my experience I already gained in this 10 years of coaching.
So, so you're an A license coach,
Yeah.
which is a big deal in of itself. You were at a pretty sizable club in Germany. I mean, like, still producing great players right now. What was your experience like in South Africa? Like, what did you do?
I did, coach the coaches. So we did offer coaching courses for, I think, maybe 50, 60, maybe even 70% sometimes with teachers. So we would offer a C license course, like comparable to a C license in Europe from the content, in South Africa, in different cities around one province in South Africa in an international corporation. So I was sent by a German provincial federation, but cooperating with the South African Football Association. And yeah, the objective was to, get more qualified coaches to improve soccer in that region. And it was a very amazing experience. I was exposed to a completely different world. So it was not possible to just completely copy the German curriculum of soccer education into the South African environment, because what happened there was very, like, eye-opening for me, because, like, people in the apartheid system in South Africa, they were really, like, kept on purpose with limited knowledge. So teachers, if you would become a teacher in a South African black dominant region, there you would study 2 years. You would study 1 year, one subject, another year, another subject. They don't have any pedagogical content. So it was really instructing or like coaching or like teaching was like not very pedagogical. It was really like the teacher says something and the students would just repeat, like in a very old-fashioned, like I would even say military style. And that is not what children need in that age. Like when you coach or teach children, then it needs to be fun. And that was the first thing I learned. And yeah, it was very inspiring and challenging as well, because you need to adapt your whole mindset and see what is happening. And yeah, we did lots of visits in schools to really find out what people need and then to adapt the curriculum. So that's where my whole story with adapting curriculum to different needs and to different surroundings and environments started.
So Bradley Carnell, our coach, spoke about his influences from his times in South Africa. What were the most important things that you learned from being in that environment, and like how does that weave into who you are now as the regional training and education director?
Well, South Africa shaped me in many different ways. Because of the history, there's a lot of tension in the air between people. Still, after so many years, so the apartheid system was brought down in the 90s, and it's still very strong, and you can feel it, like, because of the infrastructure, that everything is divided. You have the white neighborhoods and the black neighborhoods, and that sure was like a strange feeling all the time. Like people are locked down, like people have like electric fences and like burglar bars in front of their windows. And coming from that environment in Germany where you're like free all the time. I grew up as a child. I would walk to school. I would take my bike to the forest. I would go with the bike to the soccer field. So I was completely free. And then you're going to a country which is beautiful nature-wise and very diverse and lots of like positive spirits sometimes as well. But at the same time, you have that big contrast where you have people just like locked down in their houses and like living in the same country, sometimes in the same city, sometimes on the same street. You would have a villa on one side of the street, and you have like a metal, like a hut in one of the townships. And yeah, it's still when I go there, I still go quite like at least once a year normally to offer a coaching course for people there. It's still something that the brain has difficulties to realize what is really happening there and how to act according to that circumstances. So yeah, it just opens your mind and your heart that you want to do something that really benefits the people and that they can grow and have a better life in the future. Because yeah, things are out of balance there. Money is divided in the wrong way. Like you have few rich people and lots of poor people. And yeah, I always think soccer can make a big difference in changing that, bringing people together. Because no matter where you come from, how much money you have, what kind of education you have, when you step on the soccer pitch, everybody is equal in that moment. And that's why I think this opportunity we have as a soccer club is amazing and it's unique to really make use of that environment where we can bring people together in that way.
So after South Africa, what was next?
First, I went back to Germany. I worked for the German Soccer Federation in something similar that we are doing right now. It's a satellite program where they have training locations as a soccer federation all over the country. So they have more than 350 training locations where they offer an additional training to soccer players that are having a club, but still want to receive a quality session by highly qualified coaches. And that is something that we are planning with our program here as well. So we want to reach out to children that have not been able to play soccer so far, but as well we want to give the opportunity to children that have a club, that have a school, to have an additional session once a week with us in the training program. So you could see it as a beginner session. We might open later on an intermediate session if many kids sign up, and we have an advanced level as well, where coaches really take players that already are on a good level to the next level.
Great. So I think the people listening can start to piece together how all of your life experiences led to where you are right now. So I spoke to Lutz in November, and he mentioned that he was talking to you. He called you the best in the world at what you do. How did this project come about? Was it a role crafted for you? Was it something that you applied to? Was it just having a good connection with the sporting director and ownership? Like, explain to the fans like how this came to be.
I just give you a quick. I had a 2-year period as well after Germany to go back to Africa because I felt my mission was not finished. I went to coach the under-17 national team of Mozambique for 2 years. That was very inspiring and full of experiences and learnings as well, period. And then I went on to Brazil, and I stayed 3.5 years in Brazil. I did write 2 books about coaching in a holistic way, where you treat like technical content and tactical principles with an equally important to social and emotional competences, because that's what I think what many clubs haven't realized. that like to be able to perform on the highest level, and all coaches who have been really working with kids and adolescences or even adult players, they know that like the mental side and the social side, they are important. It's just not taught in many of the federation's courses. So while doing that in Brazil, we offered coaching courses in, I think I went to 12, 13, 14 different cities all over Brazil, starting before the World Cup and taking it on after the Olympics in Rio. And during that time, Lutz was sent to support me in some of the courses because I was there permanently, and Lutz was, sent for some international courses by the German Soccer Federation as well. And that's where Lutz and me met and totally clicked from the beginning because he's been around the world. He had that crazy experiences, and we shared stories. And because these stories, they bond you together. Because only if you go through that crazy things in Africa, this completely different mindset. And we clicked immediately. We kept in touch. We've been in touch when I went back after Brazil to Germany. We met several times, and because I went back to Germany because I wanted to challenge myself. I went back to study sports science with focus on children and youth training. That was a complete new study that came out 5 years ago, and I wanted to do that and see what I can still learn with 20 years of experience around the world and really reading many, many books before. And and then when I like nearly finished my studies, I called Lutz and said, "Look, I'm ready to continue my world trip with soccer." And I said, "Yeah, I'm in St. Louis, and I really could need your experience here." And that's how everything started. Then he explained me about that project, what St. Louis wants to achieve. That like it's got to be more than a soccer club. That they really want to invest in their youth, and like not only be developing great soccer players, but as well helping children and youth to grow as human beings. And when he told me that, and I had this continuous talks with leadership, ownership of the club, and when they really gave me that feeling that the club is supposed to be more than just another great soccer club, then I was hooked by that idea, being part of that and really coming over and contributing with my experience of bringing that holistic approach of playing and teaching soccer to the city of St. Louis.
I think it's speak for everybody listening to this podcast that your life story is inspiring, and it's the continuous desire to give back, but also like going back to college and learning something new. I think that's something everybody could bake into their life. But I do, before we get into the role and you being in St. Louis and what you're going to do, you mention more than a soccer club. Now, anybody can say more than a soccer club, and it doesn't always have to have substance, because as a fan, the club that you support is more than a soccer club for you. But I think when you're hiring somebody, more than a soccer club actually has to stand for something. When Lutz and Carolyn and the people that you met in leadership talked to you about what more than a club meant, what were the key bits that you took? What attracted you? What made you think this is where I want to continue the next chapter of your life?
Okay, I'm here now like a little bit more than 2 months, and I've learned a lot already about St. Louis. I've heard a lot, but I'm still grabbing and soaking up all local information. Carolyn, as well as Lutz, they told me like very clear that the mission is to bring the city more together, to really investing in youth and investing into the players become as good as they can become on the pitch. But the main overall goal of the club is to make people proud of the club, but as well to support people to grow and grow together, and really having that big vision in mind that the city will grow together more than it already is, and we really want to invest in that. And when I heard that, and I thought, okay, I might be the perfect person to support that, because what I've been doing was exactly that, using soccer as a tool to bring people together. That is my main focus for 20 years now, and yeah, I think I had the feeling that they have the right vision, and then that if we design a great program, working in partnerships with the right organizations in St. Louis, and really working in partnerships, that this can really make a difference.
Soccer is a ruthless game. You know, you've coached a really high level. You've been exposed to a lot of youth talent that's gone in and out of the system. Just got some statistics for you. In the Premier League, only 180 players from a pool of 1.5 million will make it onto the professional pitch. That's a 0.012 chance of success percentage. Only 1.4% of college players go on to pro level in the US. Those are quite tough numbers. You're bringing a lot of kids into the game. How do you manage expectations, and like how do you deal with numbers like that? How do you keep people motivated that what you're doing has more value than just getting to the end of a career and getting that pro contract? Like is that part of your methodology?
Thanks, Pete, for bringing that numbers in. I've been using like quite similar numbers in different occasions. I think that's why really we have to take that responsibility serious as a club, that we want to help players and children and young players to become as good as they can become, to reach their personal best. But if not possible to make pro soccer, we want to have them at least developing that lifelong passion for the sports. It's a beautiful sport. So if they don't make it, they will be prepared for any other things in life. So to reach a job that might make them happy, to go to college, to go to study at a great university, or find something that makes them happy. Like there's so many skills that can be learned in the professional environment. You would call them soft skills. In the soccer world, I'll always talk about emotional and social competences, because they have a high impact on their performance on the pitch, but as well they will have an impact on their private life and any kind of relationship with their parents, with a future partner, or with friends, or in the school environment, or later in the work environment. So this is really what we need to like put on like with the equal importance, that everybody knows, okay, I'm gonna be as good as I can be as a soccer player, but if I don't make it, I will still have a good chance to find a good pathway for my future.
We are kind of raised on this pop culture notion that making it in sport is a bit of a zero sum game. I think a lot of professional athletes like to give off the impression that everything else is sacrificed in dedication to the craft, the technical craft of soccer. You've spoken about the belief that working on the human elements of the game is just as important, and you've even suggested in our conversations that being a good human actually makes you a better player. Could you like elaborate on that? Because I think that's quite a new idea for a lot of people, that the personal side of things can impact on the pitch.
I'll have one example. I'll have two great examples, I think, with quite famous players. One example was Carles Puyol. Puyol was the central defender of Barcelona for many years, the captain of the team, and sure, Messi drew lots of attention and that at that time, and you had Ronaldinho playing with him, like the offensive players. But if you ask players from the team, and I've been working with the Barcelona Football School in Brazil for 3 months, I stayed with them and talked with a lot of people there, and they always keep on repeating that Puyol was the one who held the team together. Like his social competences, they were like the backbone of the whole team spirit. Because if somebody would freak out and not acting like with the humbleness pro soccer players should sometimes even more should demonstrate, he would keep players to like down to earth, and he would be like the whole leader, the big leader in the team that like takes on that responsibility of holding that team together. That could be one example, but it could be various other ones. I'll use a German example because it has been very highly debated in Germany. Miroslav Klose, who is the all-time goal scorer of Germany
As an
now.
England fan, I know this all too well. I know
Yeah.
this all. It's painful. This is a painful conversation.
Yeah, but I have one scene in mind that really stuck to my heart because he did still play, I think, for Werder Bremen, and the penalty was already like the referee already blew the whistle for a penalty, and the game was 0-0. It's easy to do that when it's 2-0 already when you're leading, but it was 0-0. The referee blew the whistle for penalty. Klose stood up, went to the referee, and told him that it wasn't a penalty. So he showed courage. He showed responsibility and integrity because he didn't want to win the game in a wrong way. Like showing that kind of fair play, I think it's extraordinary. Few players do that because they always say, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of money involved, and we need to win by all means." And I disagree. Like in sports, even if there's millions involved, you should have like that complete 100% commitment to win the game, but it should not be that you like it's the rules. That's the rules of the game, and I don't want to bend them and act in the gray zone to win the game. I want to be 100% clear that I won that game out of being better than my opponent, not of getting like an or bending the rules using my hands or just diving. I'm as a coach, I would never allow that to my players, and everybody that has been working with me knows that I would never compromise the rules of the game just to win them. I can even not see players running to the corner flag at the end of the game. Some say it's clever. I think it's the wrong message. Psychologically, I want to show my team that I want to keep on playing. I want to score the next goal. I don't want to run to the corner flag to just let the time running down. I don't agree with that. So I believe there's so many lessons to learn within the game when you look into the details and the life lessons that can be learned. And yeah.
And that speaks to a cultural mindset. You hear a lot of it going around the club that we want to win the right way, and I think that speaks to it. I just wanted to sort of draw maybe some sort of cultural parallels in the game in general. There was a time maybe 10 years ago where some of the more famous clubs had a win at all costs mentality, even if that was ugly. But it feels like the managers that are standing out in world football at the moment take more of the mindset that you're taking, winning the right way, winning with positivity, and it seems to attract people to the game a little bit more. Do you think that is a generational thing? Is that the type of player that's coming through? Like the players that are coming through expect to be coached and managed in a different way, or is it just one of those trends that happens in football? Because it feels like the game is getting more positive in general, and the I don't know whether to say the German mindset is starting to spread beyond the borders of the Bundesliga.
First, I hope so. I hope this is the direction we're going, like worldwide. Like the soccer world has that amazing influence on our planet. Like a whole world is looking into what is happening. And if the players, our pro players, set the right examples, how we would imagine our society, because I always think soccer is representing our society somehow. And if they take on that responsibility and we as a club can make sure that our players are going that direction, that we as a club as a whole or as a whole city going that direction, that we are like showing that, okay, the rules in showing integrity, really like being positive, having that growth mindset, believing that things can change to the positive, that this will be like part of our culture in each and every situation we can imagine, then we can change something. Like, and I really believe that if soccer players, our big players now of our team, take that serious, their responsibility, coming out to the communities and being present. We've been internally talking about it, that players from our pro team, from our next pro team, from our academy, coming out into the community program and showing presence and bringing that positive mentality into our club, and then we really can make a difference and spread this growth mindset and that positivity that we all wanna be living with. And yeah.
And talking of the positivity, we just had a City 2 game last Friday that we won, and just a couple of examples of behaviours that as I sit in that ground as a fan like everybody else at the club, but two pieces of behaviour that were Josh Yarrow, our captain, thanked the designers on the team for making a nice graphic. And I've never seen that. I've never seen anything like that in football before. It was amazing. And I hear from the fans that if he sees people out and they recognise him, he will talk to them. And the second one, at the end of the game, the players made a beeline for the supporters who were incredible all game. Like, are those the sort of leadership elements that you're talking about? Like, those are the sort of the moments that you want to see more of and you want to inject into the culture of youth football in St. Louis?
Yeah, I've heard about Josh's behavior, like thanking the designers. I think this is exactly what we want to see, like being aware as a player about their responsibilities of giving back to the community. Like, I will not talk about our players now only. I'll talk about pro players in general. I think they're earning really good money worldwide. Sure, there's differences from league to league, but comparing to normal people that go on a daily basis to do their job, soccer players, they should all have or feel that responsibility within themselves to give back to the community. And what Josh did, thanking the designers, is a beautiful gesture. Like, it's beautiful that he does that, but it's only one part. Like, I love that he did it, and it shows that he is thinking beyond, but we need everybody to do that. And we want to be like that good, that we as a club inspire more clubs, that players are not taking away responsibility, that they take on that responsibility they have, that they are aware. There's lots of good players doing lots of great work with having their own foundations and there is lots of good things happening, but I think it's not enough. And each and every player that gets to that level, that they have such decent salaries, they should give back and give back to kids. That's where the money belongs to. That's where we need to invest, because that is the future, our future generations, where we can invest. And sports has that beautiful environment. It's not a school where children have to go. It's not that parents are telling them something to do. It's sports. They're coming because they love it. They love the game. And in that environment, bringing the right messages, there's unbelievable potential that children reach, like that their full potential. Like, it's an amazing opportunity. We need to use it in the right way.
So to ground the conversation in your program right now, talk to me about value-based leadership in soccer and how that plays out with kids. Because I'm assuming that the Josh Yauer experience comes from a well-grounded education that you want to bring to the city. Tell us a little bit about that.
I've been dealing with value-based leadership in the last, let me think, I don't know, it might be 4 or 5 years now, in a more indirect way first, and now I've been putting it like really on my table as one of the main components, because values is something I think every human being should be aware of. Some people have them in themselves anyway. They act according to them, but they've never like actively reflected on them. They just do it like in a subconscious way. What we've been doing now the last years, and I've been responsible for doing that with the German Soccer Federation and with the big foundation and within the courses I offer worldwide through my social profit organization. So the target is to incorporate value-based leadership within every organization, within every team. That means discussing values, identifying your own values first, like thinking really about what do I really believe in, what really touches me as a person, like from deep inside. And then breaking it down into, okay, what competences do I really need to put those values into actions? So I'm talking a triangle again.
Right.
On top is the values. Then we're talking, okay, what competences do I need to really act according to that values as the third part, and really put these values through the competences I have into daily actions and incorporating into everything I do, and to really act according to those values. And that's what we've been starting now within the club. And that will take some time, and it's an ongoing, never-ending process as well. Like coaches should do that every year again, because new players will come in, new players will be joining, bringing their own values to the team, which needs to be valued. Like we need to value each and every individual being in the group, that they can contribute with their values to the team, to bringing that diversity that we want, and that everybody knows. I want to know about player Josh, player Tish Kishon, and all the players in the team. I want to know about their values and how we can make use of them, bringing those values into the team and enriching our diverse team. And I think this awareness, if we have that and really make use of the different personalities in the best way, that's how teams can thrive and to reach their best as a group.
So I always like to have something in this show that fans can do in their own lives, because there are, elite level sport has lots of correlations to lots of different businesses. Like if a fan wanted to do something like this, like they worked in advertising or they were an accountant, or what could they do to get to their values? Do you have any fun tips where they could get a little taste of this in their own lives?
We've been planning to shoot our challenges competence-based. I think something that could be really great is to share on maybe even on social media, that we know what our community is about, what they really care of, to share their personal value. So if I'm a fan of City, or I'm planning of becoming one, I'm growing into becoming a real City strong supporter, think about your value. Think about what really touches you, what you would not compromise in any way. Write it down and share it with us. We would love to know what value is the most important from our fan base. So I think that's something really cool you can do. Think about your value, write it down, and share your personal story behind why is that so important for you. that would be incredible for us to know, that we can like learn more about everybody out there who loves the sport, and maybe doesn't love the sport so far, but is growing into it. And that would be amazing.
So if you're listening to this, our DMs are open across all channels. If you want to send us a story about your values as a fan, because Sasha is interested to know. Okay, so let's get into the City Futures program. It sounds super exciting. The fans are pumped. What can I expect as a boy or a girl, age 7 to 14, like day one of this course? What does the plan look like?
Well, we really want to offer to as many kids as possible soccer. There's been kids, they already play the sports. Some do play, some maybe in parks, maybe some play in clubs or in the school. We want to make it accessible. We want to reach as many children as possible. We have to start. We start now in the south of the city. We offer it to those age groups that we can't cover in our academy. So this is the foundation. We are starting now the foundation. And really for beginners, and as well for the ones that already receive a great training by the Gallaghers, the Lufews out there, they can as well come and see it as an additional session for them. Because there is great approaches, there is great coaches already out there. We just want to add on top what they already know and bring that social side as well to grow as a human being.
So coaches of all levels, even, at the high level, because obviously there's a lot of high level coaching in the area, because this area produces so many top talents,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So when the players arrive training for day one, how does it go down? What do they learn? Do you give them a curriculum? Is it a sit down class? Are they working on their skills, or is it a whole, it's just all of those things together?
Kids love to play, so basically what we're gonna do is let them play.
Yeah.
That's how they can really express themselves. So it's basically the first event that we start on the second, and that's how we're gonna start each and every location. It's gonna be playing. Like we're gonna have like a training circuit. But not in the way you would maybe consider a training circuit in an old-fashioned way. I would say like one station is playing, then we practice one skill, then we go back playing, we practice a skill, go back playing. So there's lots of games that are going to be played, and there will be different lessons to learn. So we'll have a dribbling exercise, we'll have a shooting exercise, but we as well have a small exercise of building trust.
Right.
So we are trying to incorporate for an initial event as many skills as possible.
And we know from internal research that we've been doing locally that fun is a big factor for a lot of parents. Every parent knows that the chances of their child making it to the very top is difficult, and that quite often they just want a place for their kids to go to have, good structured fun. You mentioned fun at the top of the show. Like, how do you ensure that these sessions, kids look forward to them, they don't dread them?
Yeah. So we're using the PPP model, as it called in the US. It's called play, practice, play. That means children come, they'll play immediately. They will not start with a physical exercise. They would start playing. So the first thing they do is what they love most, playing. So this is already a good start, I think, and it has been used worldwide in many countries. Not all of them, but it has, like wherever I went. And if you look into children's faces, what happens if you come to training and you start playing immediately, then you'll see that there is joy, there is happiness, and I'm quite sure that most of the children will be going home because they had lots of moments of fun because they were able to play. We're using like small-sided games as a main ingredient of our sessions. That means they're going to have lots of actions. Most definitely, most of the children will go home having scored a goal. Like if you play 7v7 or 9v9, some children, they hardly touch the ball.
Right.
They're not able to score a goal. If you play 3v3 or even 2v2 with small children, most definitely all the children would score a goal. They will go home. And that model has been changing over the last years, that the younger the kids are, the smaller the pitches are. And we are really focusing with the 7, 8-year-old kids, the 9, 10-year-old kids. They will all play that small-sided games, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, that they have touches with the ball, because that's what they want.
That's fantastic. And just to reiterate, what's the commitment if you join a course? How many weeks is it?
Our training program is designed to be ongoing. So we don't have like an end and an end date. We have to adapt according to the schedules of our partner organizations. So at Bayless, we are at a high school. We need to always adapt to their schedule, but we want the training to go on the whole year long, all year long. So sure, we will have some breaks for school holidays or for winter holidays, but we'll offer a summer camp during that time. Our regular training will stop, but we'll offer a summer camp. That's in planning. So
exciting.
We'll announce that in the next weeks or month. But the summer camp will happen, and but the training will be ongoing. We will start with once per week, but if we see there's high demand and more children want to come, we will maybe offer then a more regular training. That depends on the demand and the desire of our children.
And just to be clear, a lot of people applied off the initial invitation. If you don't make it into this first one, there are lots of courses rolling out, and it might be because of where your address came in and that we're rolling out in other locations. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So we were calling our sessions the way to play sessions. So in one way, it's our city way to play. And in the other way, we're tackling a little bit the pay-to-play model, because we're offering our sessions for free. And if you're not able to join now, so we want to open every 6 weeks. That is the target, to open a new satellite location. So we're starting Bayless now. We're opening in May our next location at Cardinal Ritter, which is centrally located, not too far from the stadium. And then we're going north of the city, then we're going east over the bridge to Illinois, and then west. And that's the target for this year. But as well, the idea is to open more locations than beginning of next year.
Brilliant. And not everybody can make it down to these individual sessions. Will there be any plans to scale this beyond just the courses? Will there be like access to online tools or videos or editorial at some point?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, we'll have coaching courses, and we have these 3 levels. So for a coach that wants to use our methodology, you can do the kickoff course. That's going to happen on a regular basis. But as well, we have the introductory online course, and then we have this continuous learning opportunity. I think that's a unique thing we're designing together with MISA, where we have this. We're planning now every 3 weeks a session where you learn new games, and having a complementary online theoretical session to learn the theory behind it, to know why we're doing what we're doing. And that's going to happen every 3 weeks. That is the plan. Don't nail me down on that, but that is the general idea, to have it as a continuous learning approach. Because we believe if you really want to become the best coach, to give the best experience to the children, then you need to continuously learn. There's so many great coaches out there. There's so many great activities and games out there. So you never stop learning. Like, I'll always find a new activity after 20 years of coaching that I said, wow, what was that? Great, fabulous thing. And then I incorporate it into a curriculum. because there's always something new people come up with. I've been learning so many great activities in Africa, in South Africa, in Mozambique, in Brazil that I've never seen before in Europe. So that's why it was for me so interesting to travel around the world, because you learn so many new things. And I've been trying to implement many of those activities in different environments, and yeah, so there's always something new to learn, and that's what we want to promote as well. That coaches continuously learn, and this continuous learning approach that we've been designing with MISA, that it's going to be available to coaches according to their time as well. So if you're not able to make it for the theory session, when, let's say, one example, I think we're going to start with something that I really care about. It's creativity. That's maybe going to be one of the first sessions. You can make it to the games as a practical on a weekend, but you can't do it for the theory. Then we're going to record the theory session online, and then you can join it on a later stage. And that's where we're going to make it accessible to most of the coaches. So if you're available, you can join, and if you're not for the theory session, then you just not join, do it whenever you want, like according to your schedule.
That's awesome. So last question. I feel like we've talked a lot about what's coming for the coaches, talked a lot about what's coming for the kids. There's a lot of parents that will be listening to this, and it's difficult having kids that play sport. Do you pressure your kids to be better? Are you hard on them? Do you just let them have fun, and then there maybe isn't as much structure? Like, what would your best advice be for parents that have got kids that want to have fun and get better at the game? Like, what's a couple of things that people listening to this call can take into their own lives to make their kids' experience of the game more positive?
It's a very interesting and important topic. We've been incorporating some approaches as well, how we want to support our sports parents out there who really want to give their kids the best sports experience possible. We can have a great coaching session and with the training on the pitch, but we need all parents to really support their children in the best way. And pressure never really helps. It's not something that will help children to thrive and really develop their whole potential. The most important thing is, I think, support developing the right attitude to the game. We should help children to develop that lifelong passion. We want children to love the game and bringing 100% of their heart into the trainings and into the games. And if you see that your child has really given everything, then we're good. This is something that needs to be promoted. We want to have the right attitude, no matter what the outcome of the game is, according to a result. Results is nothing that is important in youth soccer or in youth sports in general. We want children to love the game. And sometimes they have given their best and the opponent was just better. That happens. That doesn't mean that they're not good enough. So as a parent, and I must honestly say, I'm not a father so far. I've been having so many different experiences with so many children, and I all love them. I always say, I have so many children. But I will be a father. But what I really can advise everyone, help children to develop that passion in sharing your love with them, independent of the result of the soccer game. Make sure they've been giving their personal best, and everything else, leave it to the game. The game itself is such a great teacher. So as a parent, be involved, cheer for them, give them the best support in a way that they feel they're loved anyway, no matter what the result of the game is. And yeah, that is, I think, is the best way to support them. I have another advice. If you really want to be the best parent. This is a short advice from me, but there is two great, really great books from American authors out there. One is John O'Sullivan, Changing the Game. Fabulous book. It has been a movement now in the last years because it has been like really great received in the soccer community. And there's another book out there by Jerry Lynch. It's called Let Them Play. Jerry is an amazing guy, father of 4 children, and he is like amazing when it comes to sports parenting. So if you really want to learn more into depth how to support your child in the best way, this is the 2 books I can highly advise you to read as a sports parent to give the best support that you want your children to receive.
Well, that was, I think that was a great way to finish the show. I'm inspired. I think St. Louis City SC fans are going to absolutely love what you're bringing to the community. There's so much for everybody in this podcast. And, just to reiterate, everybody in the building that's welcoming you to the club at the moment is just so impressed with your mindset and your vision. And, I personally can't wait to see what you do with all of these kids. They're very lucky to have you. Thank you for joining the show. I know we've spoken about this. We're going to have you back on to talk about more of the specifics of the program. Like as you get your feet stuck in isn't quite the right way of framing it. But as you progress the program. So thank you for joining. An absolute pleasure. If you are listening to the show via a podcast and you're not in the car, why not give us a review and tell us what you thought about Sasha? This podcast will have website pages associated with it. If you want to leave your values, Sasha will be reading them. You can DM us across Instagram and Twitter. And we will be back next week with another show. We're going to keep these going. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
Thank you, Pete. That was lovely. And I can't wait. I've been in the office now 2 months. I can't wait to see all the kids now on the page joining our programs. And let's just enjoy the game together.